about them. But as far as my legacy, like I'd like to think that I, for future generations, help define what they think of Hurricane Katrina and what happened. I'd like to think that for people interested in Chicago politics, that long after I'm gone, my book, my work, the articles I wrote are still here, and I can help you understand this moment, this interesting moment in this city's history. COVID, like, God, what was it like for small business back then? In fact, there's an AI angle onto this. It's like, so a lot of writers are very angry, needless to say, that their intellectual property, their work, was used to train these models without permission. The permission part doesn't bother me, without compensation. I would like a little bit of money for the work I did. But the truth is, like, if I found out that, someone is getting an answer about Chicago politics or New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina without having been trained on my book, I'd be disappointed. In fact, I was very pleased. So the Atlantic Monthly, the Atlantic magazine, put out this link where you could plug in your name and find, I think it was Meta's model, and find out if your work, if your book, my books, were used to train it. And I'll be honest with you, I was really relieved that every one of my books was listed. Again, this idea that, like, okay, I'd like a little bit of compensation for my work, but I think more importantly, like, I really wanted to think like, oh, okay, if you ask that model about what happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, like, I help inform that. So that's my legacy. I'd like to be like informing the conversation long after I've gone on these various, on the internet, in the .com era. I wrote a couple of books around that. I'd like to think that I'm helping to shape that even after I'm done on this earth.
Yeah, totally, and beautiful. And I totally resonate with what you mentioned, and it reminded me of the famous quote by Dalai Lama: "Share your knowledge; it's a way to achieve immortality." And sharing, your knowledge, and you can achieve immortality. And
Yeah.
it's an interesting way to see your life
Yeah.
and legacy. And
Right.
totally
Right.
resonate with that. Yeah, again, thank you so much for joining today. We really enjoyed, and learned a lot from you.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you.